Hey folks, Jer at The View on Thursday, 16th of Feb with some Leeds news just after the Michael Skubala Leeds press conference for the away match this weekend against Everton. Very slow news day, which is not a bad thing given the last couple of weeks that we've had. And I've had a really busy day this morning, so this is my lunch break and I'm doing this now live stream wise, so don't have time to do edits. We'll get into this and we'll talk about a few bits and pieces. Injury-wise, in the press conference, Scoobs has said the following long-term injuries are still the same. So Forshaw, Dallas, still no sign of him come back, and that's to be expected. Pascal Stroke is back in training after having a concussion, so that's a good news story for the weekend. Gives a bit of a boost. Coops and Rocket, according to Scoops, are touch and go, but looking good. But he doesn't want to take any risks with the players, especially at this stage, which is a smart thing to do. And Sonny Perkins back in training as well and back in contention, another option on the bench. And maybe we'll start to see Skubala bring some of the younger players that he's used this season through and now into the team. And Perkins, Sinistera injuries situation is a little bit longer than Rocket and Coops, but is on his way back and is on the grass, but probably won't be available for this weekend, which is a shame. Getting back for Southampton, fingers crossed. On the actual stories going around, asked about taking over the role, he said that he spoke to Victor about the job. And they just said that, look, he'd be willing to help out the club for a couple more games if the club needed it. The club want to take more time on this appointment. So Skubala has said he's happy to take charge. He sees this very much as just helping out the club. I said it yesterday in a couple of pieces on Twitter as well. People giving Skubala a bit of stick because he was a PE teacher once. It's like saying I'm a retail manager because I used to do it when I was 19 years of age. 42 now. I don't do it anymore. But it's like saying, oh, well, you're a retail manager, aren't you? Crazy. Just because you do something once in your career doesn't mean you're still doing that now. So he's doing a job for Leeds. We should be grateful that we've got somebody who's reasonably capable of doing that job considering what's out there. And he said he's happy to help the club and he loves the club and he'll do whatever he can to help the club out. Asked about the game coming up, and it is a big game. He said every game in the Premier League is a massive game. The team are excited about going to Goodison and trying to get 3 points if they can. So, all good stuff there. Asked about Luke Ayling's influence. We'll get to Luke Ayling stuff in a second, but asked about Luke Ayling's influence, and he said, look, he's a hugely important player. He's a great person, first and foremost. He's incredibly professional. And what he gives the team in the dressing room as well, he can't put value on that. He said he's fantastic in the dressing room, a great leader in the dressing room. And said his performances against Manchester United were brilliant. They were. He set records in those two games, so it's great to see that. People are very quick to write off players. Luke Ayling was written off very early on the season. I think he's an important player to have around the club. I still think we probably need a better right back at some point in the future. All up, fullback wise, I think we need a better defense, but hugely important influence in the dressing room and around the club, and you don't want to lose that with these players leaving. So great to lock him down. Moving on then, and let's have a quick chat about, in the press conference as well, he was asked about Pat Bamford sulking a little bit when he got taken off in Ellen Road last weekend. And he said he just wasn't happy getting taken off, but they spoke about it. He explained his decision. He says he's a very open kind of coach. He explains what's going on to the players and his decisions so they can, understand what's going on. But, players getting taken off are never usually that happy. So I just hope it doesn't become a more experienced player throwing a bit of weight around with a caretaker manager. I don't think it is. Moving on, let's talk about Gerardo Martino, because a bit of information has come about him today. Been linked with the Leeds job a while. He's currently out of job after finishing with Mexico after the World Cup. He's not got a bad CV, but never really been at any major big clubs. He's like a lot of managers. He preferred this job in the summer. He was asked this week, about a potential return to management with his name being linked with stuff. And what he basically said is, I have no idea. Asked further about it, he said, I always have an idea throughout my career, and today I am without that. That's saying, having football and not having football. He said, I look for more projects, for circumstances, and for family. I won't just go anywhere. So, he's looking for something a bit more meaty. This is a pretty big project and a pretty interesting set of circumstances. So, boxes being ticked there. But I don't know if it's going to be Martino. I don't think it is going to be Martino. There's more news floating around about that. It's a really slow news day when Harry Redknapp is being linked with the Leeds job and asking to come out of retirement to help us out. We don't need you, Harry. We don't need you. You're 20 years ago's news. We need to. God, these lads are popping out of work. Allardyce the same. Neil Warnock trying to, maybe not me, but somebody like me. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Let's go to the main story then. And again, we're entering massive pinch of salt territory with their track record, unfortunately, with Team Talk and James Marshman. So they're quoting trusted sources. So given the whole QSI debacle a couple of months ago, pinch of salt on this. They're saying that Leeds will try again for their long-term heir to Bielsa. Marcelo Gallardo looks like he is that long-term heir. He is currently a free agent, having left River Plate in the summer after 8 successful seasons there. He doesn't want to take over a club mid-season. According to Jason Burt of The Telegraph, Leeds will be willing to wait for Gallardo in the summer, which means Leeds will be looking for a short-term option, potentially. All rumor, all speculation. This is coming from Team Talk, so as I said, big pinch of salt, might not be true. Moving on from that, though, and Dean Jones has said that Nuno Espirito Santo and Steven Gerrard's names keep being mentioned. Steven Gerrard's just not an option for me. I can't see it. But what he said is the feeling around Leeds isn't good towards Steven Gerrard. He said, but Gary McAllister would join him and that would soften the blow. It wouldn't, because Gary McAllister's last season at Leeds wasn't great either. Again, a backward step. Steven Gerrard looked like a really good manager when he had Beale as his coach, and now Beale's at Rangers, and Steven Gerrard's been without Beale at Villa, and it showed. It really did show. Sorry, Steve Scorefield, don't want a dinosaur like Harry Redknapp or Big Sam. Correct. I completely agree. So yeah, but what he did say, Dean Jones did say, was from people I speak to at the club, Nuno is the only name being mentioned. Love at the club is the only manager being mentioned. So it's going to be an interesting one. Will Nuno do a job till the end of the season? I don't think he would. I think Leeds are in a situation where you're potentially offering somebody an 18-month contract and reviewing it in the summer after 6 months anyway, just to see if you can get your preferred target in. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think Nuno's a safe option. He's in that mid-bracket of managers, like just the managers we really, really want. Then there's the managers that are like, yeah, they'll be okay. They'll be safe. It's not going to be a huge step forward, but we should be safe with them. So that's Benitez and Nuno. And then you got the bracket of managers you just don't want to have at the club, and they're Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Big Sam, Neil Warnock, and Harry Redknapp. So yeah, that's pretty much that. And then last story today, moving on, Luke Ayling, great news story, has signed an extension to his contract, a 1-year deal that will bring him to the summer of 2024. Luke is 13 games away from 250 appearances, and just thank Leeds data for that. Leeds stats for that information as well. Cooper and Dallas are the only 2 members of the current squad who've hit that 250 appearance mark. So great news for Bill. What he did say, and what Lucas said about this, is it goes without saying that I love this club and I'm delighted to extend my stay into next year. I want to thank our fans for their continued support. He's rejuvenated himself. He had a bad injury at the back end of last season. It can take a player a while to find their form again and get really, really fit again, back to where he was. And he looked a bit leggy towards the back end of the match in Old Trafford. Similar enough in Ellen Road, but most of the team look leggy towards the back end of the Ellen Road game. But he's definitely stepped back in and looks very similar to the first season in the Premier League and the last season in the Championship. So delighted that Luke is sticking around. Great news. Have to wait and see. So Scoobs has this weekend. And as I keep saying to everyone on Twitter, stop giving Scoobs stick. This isn't his fault. He's helping the club out. He's literally helping the club out. He's made it very clear this isn't a long-term option for him, and he expects to go back to his job. He's not looking for a job permanently. So let's just get behind the caretakers. Let's see how it goes. Once upon a time, a young man called David O'Leary replaced George Graham as a caretaker manager after a bad season. And we know what happened there. So maybe there's some similarities there. Maybe. Anyway, folks, it's been a pleasure. I might be doing a stream tonight with the American Elite podcast. I'm just checking my chat here. Nothing yet. So if there is a stream or podcast tonight, it'll be on the American Elites podcast channel over on YouTube as well. And that's pretty much it for me, folks. Just say massive thanks as always for watching. If you like the channel, you can subscribe and help me out. If you don't, that's okay. You can go somewhere else. You can do what you want. You got free will. But if you want to support the channel, subscribe is the only thing I ask for. So we're doing well. We're heading towards 6,000 subscribers, which is, again, madness. So anyway, waffling, thanks very much for your time and your patience, and I will see you tomorrow or tonight with more Leeds news and possibly a stream with the American Elites podcast. See you then. Bye.